Hey guys, so we're going to go ahead and finish up the last bit of this problem where we find the angles of our triangle. Now this is something that we often ask you guys to do, and this part is a little bit different than the first set of solutions that I gave you, but I find it easier to find these answers after I've already worked with the components because I have a little bit more information to work with. So the first thing that I'm going to start off by doing is drawing a new XY axis up here. And then I'm going to add in my wind vectors. So let's see, it's going to look something like that. And then we know that the resulting vector is going to look something like that. So there I have my triangle. Now let's go ahead and try to figure out what these angles are equal to. If we take a look at the plane, well, I know that this angle here, as I already said, that's 30 degrees. And if we focus on the x-axes, these two x-axes that we have, those two x-axes are parallel to each other. And the green vector intersects those parallel lines, which means that the angle here, this little guy in there, that's also 30 degrees. Now I already know that the angle here is 30 degrees, and so that what that tells me now is that this angle, the total angle there, that has to be 60 degrees. Okay, well that's one piece of information. Let's go ahead and add in a little bit more. So I already know that the magnitude of the plane is 200. I know that the magnitude of the wind is 30. And we already calculated from the last video that the magnitude of the ground speed of the plane is 187. Fantastic. Now I have three sides and an angle. And so now we can use the law of sine. So I'm going to say that I've got the sine of 60 over 187, and that's going to equal, if we call this angle here A, we'll call the one up here B. That's going to be then the sine of A over 30. And that also equals the sine of B over 200. And so by figuring out what the measure of A and B are, then we can figure out the measure of the last two angles here. And I can also just figure out one of those and then do 180 degrees minus 60 minus the second angle to get the third angle. And so what you can see is this is a little bit simpler, right? Figuring out these angles now that I've already got all the other information. I can use that information to help me. If I know the magnitude, the length of the three sides of the triangle, I can then also figure out one of those angles, and then it's very simple to use the law of sines here to figure out what the measure for angle A and angle B are. And so then we get all the information that we need for these problems. We can figure out the vector components for the resulting vector. We can figure out the magnitude, which is the ground speed for the plane. We can figure out the bearing of the plane. And then we can wrap it all up, use that information, and calculate the three different angles of the triangle that we have here. So hopefully this is a slightly simpler way to solve this. Feel free to use these videos as you're going through the other problems and do the same process step by step as you solve the problems on your own, so you can use this as a little bit of a guide as you're going through the homework. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and send me a post and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can.